Hi, I'm James Bondurant.
And I'm Alissa Tyler.
And you're watching the So Clutch podcast. We're here in Las Vegas, Nevada at the SEMA show. I'm going to be giving you a race car driver's perspective on the interviews.
And I'm an automotive journalist covering interviews from a lifestyle perspective. The 50th anniversary Hot Wheels Tour, and one of these 15 finalists will have their chance to have their car immortalized into a Hot Wheels. With Ford blazing in the background. We are right here at the Hot Wheels booth with one of their designers. Out of all of this wall, let's just talk about one of the many cars that you have designed.
I'm going to point to the one that's easiest, which is right here, which is the 2018 Chevrolet Camaro SS, which is also the Hot Wheels 50th anniversary edition.
What did it take to design it?
The newer cars are a little bit easier in the sense that a lot of the OEM manufacturers have CAD files for us to start with, so we can take those, shrink them down to scale, and then we'll make our little tweaks and adjustments to make it look into a real Hot Wheels car.
Really, really awesome. And you can tell the level of detail in Hot Wheels all the ways across the board. So we were talking a little bit about the passion of what it takes to build something like this and be in a creative space. You have to really love it, and it comes from your heart. So how did you get into Hot Wheels working for Mattel?
Well, in my case, I've always had a passion for cars and hot rods, and I went to school for industrial design. I was able to combine the two passions into one, and next thing you know, I'm over on the car side working on what I love to do.
And how about SEMA? What do you think of SEMA this year?
Oh, I love SEMA. I've been coming every year since 2003. I come whether there's a car show or not or whatever. I'm always here. I love seeing the newest. Love this, and I love seeing like what everyone brings, all the new products, all the new trends. This is the place to see it all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, and great job.
All right, guys, I'm here with Robert Graham. And the reason I'm so excited right now is not just about his Hot Wheels car he has designed, but actually Robert Graham is a fellow sprint car racer. And that's hard to find, especially here at SEMA show. So Robert, before we get into your car here, tell us a little bit about your racing background.
21 years of it, not all in sprint cars. Started out, of course, in the hobby cars and went to the late model stuff and drove it for a few years after my accident.
Sprint car racing, folks, if you haven't seen it, look up 410 sprint car, non-wing or wing. Drifting is fun. Sprint car is for real. Let's get into your car a little bit. You were telling me that Jay Leno actually picked this thing.
Jay picked it as his favorite for the show yesterday. He came over and said it was old school, new school, all in one. And I said, Jay, I'd love to have you in the car, but you won't fit. And he said, I want it for the art. The rear tires are actually right rear sprint car tires, probably the biggest dirt tires they make. Chassis is 2x3 tube chassis. It has a twin certified Pro Mod cage in it. The car is a 383 small block with 350 turbo transmission. It has a Dana rear end that has 456 gears. Sprint car suspensions, just kind of my background, so that's what I ended up with.
I love it, brother. That's a real American hot rod, basically.
It's loud and noisy and rides terrible, and the gas fumes burn your eyes, and there's nothing comfortable about it, so it's a real hot rod.
Man, I love it. Well, Robert, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much.
You have a safe trip back.
I have a theory about Hot Wheels, and I think everyone would agree with this. Nobody outgrows Hot Wheels. You've been at Hot Wheels for 10 years.
Over 10 years now, yes.
That is phenomenal. You obviously really love it.
I love it. It's awesome. I've been on the same brand and the same product line for the whole 10 years. It's been great.
No matter what age you start and you learn about Hot Wheels, you're a fan for life.
Oh, definitely. I've been playing with Hot Wheels since I was a little kid, and then how amazing it is now that I'm an adult, I'm a designer, and I'm still playing with Hot Wheels cars. To get to play with Hot Wheels cars, get paid for it, come up with the new next greatest thing is just unbelievable.
What kind of projects would you say are your favorite that you've got a chance to work on?
One of the best things I did was wall tracks. I got several patents on wall tracks. We won 2 Toy of the Years for wall tracks, for Most Innovative Toy of the Year and Best Toy of the Year. That was a lot of fun.
What's the creative process like at Hot Wheels for your job?
With playsets, it's a lot different than the cars. There's a lot of physics and math that goes behind playsets to get those little Hot Wheels cars to go, and they're going 350 to 400 scaled miles an hour. So it's not, and there's no drivers. So our sets have to account for all that physics to make the cars go around the sets and not fly off.
So are you highly involved in the Hot Wheels lab videos as well?
I've done a few of those. I've worked on a few of those with them.
I absolutely adore those. I was telling people last night at dinner that even as an adult, I like to watch those videos because I learn about math in ways that I never got to as a kid.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error. We also have a speedometry program that we do with the schools. I worked on helping get that started. Teaching kids how to use Hot Wheels cars for math and physics, about kinetic energy and gravity and things like that, speed.
And what kid wouldn't be so engaged in that learning process?
Yeah, it's been a great way to get kids involved and show kids that there's fun in learning, there's fun in math, on the boys and on the girl side as well. Showing that, it's not just drawing pretty pictures. There's a lot of math and physics involved in doing this. I started off with an engineering background and then moved into design, and then was able to, luckily enough, to land a job at Mattel doing Hot Wheels.
It's like a dream job for anybody who's fun.
Definitely.
Do you think that you're just going to be at Hot Wheels for forever?
I hope to be at Hot Wheels forever.
We're sitting here in the Maxxis trailer suite here with Aaron Smith, our motorsports off-road manager for Maxxis Tires. Appreciate you bringing us out, Aaron.
Oh, anytime, man. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, it's good to meet you, brother. You guys got quite the setup here. Seems like you're definitely pretty into the off-road stuff. What is it that stands out that, like, this is what we're looking for here at SEMA?
It's new products, any new products we're coming out with. And the last couple years, we've kind of merged the automotive side and the UTV, ATV side. If you have an ATV or a UTV, you usually own a truck. So we're trying to get everything together as like a lifestyle of, you can put Maxxis on your truck, you can put it on your ATV, your dirt bike, your UTV. We're all encompassing. We make tires for everything.
I love it. I actually race downhill mountain bikes. And Maxxis makes one of the best tires on the market for downhill mountain biking too.
It all starts with the tires. It's where the rubber meets the road. So what was it that you noticed about tires as they were as to what you brought into it?
With this company, we had a race tire that was kind of outdated. The company that I came from, we had like the newest and greatest badass tire out there. So I came over and just kind of revamped everything, new compounds, new design on the tire, and started testing, and it worked, and put it out in the field, and it's winning races.
I cannot even imagine how cool and satisfying that must be to think up something, to make a massive change in the industry and then have it work.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's happened a couple times to me, which has been really cool. I can say I did that one and I did this one, so yeah, it's really cool.
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Race car driver.
You knew at that age.
Well, my grandpa and my dad were both professional drag racers, so I grew up with it. And I started racing motocross when I was in kindergarten and made it all the way up to the nationals and all that stuff. Migrated into road racing cars, so I've always had some kind of racing going on. Yeah.
What personally do you love about SEMA? What is it that brings Aaron Smith to SEMA?
I have a passion for road racing and sports cars personally, even though Maxxis isn't really into it. But I mean, I love looking at the new sports cars that are out there, or just the new builds that are happening, any of the new drift cars, all that stuff that I've seen in magazines or on TV all year. I get to come out here and see it in person, so that's really cool for me. It's grown crazy, over the years, so it's always a place to see what's going on, what the new trends are. It's the place to be if you're in automotive, for sure.
That's like one theme I would say definitely is there's a lot of passionate automotive enthusiasts when you come out here. I mean, they are into coming out and experiencing what SEMA's all about. Love it, yeah.
You had this amazing background and have this even scientific background of how tires work, and now you're coming full circle with it, going back to the people part of it.
Right. You have to have a relationship with the drivers, the team owners, the chassis engineers. It all has to gel. So as long as you're working with a team and everybody's on the same page, it's easy to get things done and like get to the next level of where the team needs to be, where the tires need to be, and everything.
So the team means everything, how you gel together.
Exactly. Yeah, if there's conflict, you can put up with it for a while, but if you can't resolve it, it's kind of time to part ways. So.
It comes apart like an old tire.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So Aaron, really appreciate you letting us come hang out in the air conditioning cooler of the Maxxis trailer here.
Hey, it's good meeting you, and look forward to working with you in the future, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thanks.
So Aaron Smith just left the building here, or the trailer, and on his way out, we ran into Zach Martin, and Aaron said, bring him on in, let's interview Zach. So if you're not familiar with Zach Martin, he is an off-road racer. People like Mario Andretti or Jimmy Johnson, all these NASCAR names, you know, they're pretty famous. But let me tell you something. Guys like Zach, they got just as much, if not more, heart and more passion and interest in racing professionally. So, Zach, tell us a little more about your background.
Sure. So I started with ATVs for AMA, and we ran it from 2005 until 2008. The side-by-side market in 2013, 2014, when the 1000 series machines started coming out, became real popular. It was a safer venture for people to go to versus racing four-wheelers. It's open wheel, no cage. Little did we know the future it had, you know, for the industry, and I don't think the industry had a clue how big it was going to get. We started racing in the woods, and then 2016, Red Bull put on their first annual Red Bull World Cup, which was handled at Crandon International Raceway in Crandon, Wisconsin, for the kind of like the inaugural season for the side-by-sides into such a large stage. That race, we happened to take second place in, you know, technically in the world, I guess, for that series. That kind of fueled the fire to really jump into it, you know, head first. Off-road racing to me has just been really, you know, something that's been a passion. Love the dirt, grew up in the dirt as a little kid. I can't say it's more difficult than racing a car on asphalt or not, you know, because I've never experienced the asphalt side of things, but I just really feel like it's more of a driver's game in the dirt. You know, your conditions are constantly changing, weather conditions, track conditions, the dirt, the car setup, you know, everything is constantly changing, and the class field has just gotten huge. We had 65 entries in our class at this last race. I mean, that's just in one class. That's a production 1000 class, which is go down to your local power sports store, pick up a Razor 1000 or a Yamaha YXZ 1000 or a Wildcat X, you know, pick up a machine that's on the showroom floor, put a cage on it, put some tires on it, and go race. You know, it's something that anybody can get into, and it's just it's really opened the door for us to get back into something that we really, really enjoy.
Right on. Zach, that's awesome. And since Zach and I just met, I don't think he knows, but I ran 410 sprint cars. So I did drifting, okay. And then when I got the opportunity to get in a sprint car, let me tell you something, boys and girls, there ain't nothing like getting behind the wheel of a sprint car, running on dirt with all that horsepower. It takes a real man and a real driving skill. Give me a visual of what side-by-side racing is.
So basically, it's an open-wheeled machine. You're in a full cage, and the term side-by-side comes from the fact that there is two seats side-by-side. Now, obviously, you don't have a passenger with you, you know, while you're racing it, but it'd be like just driving a truck or anything else, just on a much smaller scale, and the horsepower is on a much smaller scale. So, you know, these machines vary from, you know, 1,600 pounds to 1,800 pounds, and they're making anywhere from 115 horsepower to 180 horsepower. So the power to weight ratio is still pretty decent. You know, you can definitely throw it around and do some damage with it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, low horsepower stuff like that, it takes a lot more driving skill. You got to be in control, I'm sure, right?
It's not that it's harder, but when you only make so much power, you have such fewer mistakes that you can make, because you can't compensate with a larger engine. You can't compensate with more power. It really comes down to being flawless. And, at our 2017 season, I had 2 kids running underneath me that I was coaching in a sportsman's class. I told them before the season started, I said, it's all about being consistent. Consistency wins races. You don't have to win every single race. You just have to be consistent. And I did win the last race of the 2017 season, so for me, it felt like a very, very big victory. So, I'll take that one.
CJ's going to be there at the very end. There goes Martin. It's a drag race to the finish line. Who's going to do it? Is it Martin? Is it Greaves? It's Martin by 0.3 of a second over CJ Greaves in his first win in 2017.
Where did you grow up?
I was born in Alaska, and then I moved to Florida, and then I grew up in Ohio.
So how did you get into racing being from Alaska?
My dad took me out quite a bit. We were always on snowmobiles or riding four-wheelers or anything, anything outdoors. My mom was pretty much against it. So when I was racing dirt bikes as I think I was 14 when I finally got started racing dirt bikes, I had to hide my trophies and stuff like that, still coming home with my dad, yeah. So she finally found out, and she's like, just be careful.
She's like, Zachary?
Yeah, pretty much.
Zachary, what have you been doing?
Pretty much how it went.
But she came on board after she realized how much you liked it?
Yeah, it was another slippery slope. She went to my first national in Florida, and a younger kid named Zach, she pulled up, she asked where the best place to watch the racing was, and my dad told her where to go watch it at, and a poor little kid was actually killed at the racetrack as she pulled up, named Zachary. So she was like, nope, you're done. You're done. I'm like, Mom, I'm 23 years old, and you can't tell me that I can't race anymore. I'm sorry. Yeah. But, yeah, it was interesting. She follows it. She doesn't go to it as much. I think it's just kind of still one of those hidden fears.
For sure. It is a dangerous sport, that's just the truth of it. But I'd love to hear what it is from your point of view that you really like about it.
It's an insane adrenaline rush for me. I can't speak on behalf of any other racers, but for about the first 3 hours before the race, I'm a nervous wreck. I can't eat. I can't sit still. I can't talk to anybody really. I try to divert my attention from things because I'm so nervous thinking about the race. And over the past 2.5, 3 seasons, we've raced probably 50 or 60 races, and every time I get in the car until the race takes place, I'm heart's pounding. It's just tunnel vision kind of thing, just the adrenaline. It's one of those love-hate relationships. You almost hate it so much because it puts such an anxiety on you, but in the same sense, you once you're going, you love it.
There's a massive reward at the end. So what does it take to get your head in the game? Because I'm sure the reason why you get nervous is because this is a very serious thing.
Yeah, competition's huge, and the guys aren't out there just to play around. It's not a Sunday ride. A lot of people are putting a lot of effort and a lot of time into this and taking it very seriously, as you should. It's a competitive sport. It's a pro-level sport. I just try to stay as calm as I can and kind of talk myself down a little bit and stay, again, it's a fine line. You want to stay amped up enough that you're motivated and ready to go, but also calm enough that you can focus on the race. And the biggest thing I always tell myself is, that it's a long race. Let's get out there, let's get through a few turns, and then let's start, really cutting it down.
I cannot imagine how much fun it would be to just do that on a consistent basis, and even on a pro level. That's like every kid's little dream, don't you think?
Oh, 100% agree. And that's why we continually push it. My son is 7 years old, and we built him a little 170, so that he could race as well. It's for the fans, for the racers. I know for myself, it's an absolute awesome feeling. I like watching the racing as much as I like participating in it. But at our World Cup race, there's 50 to 60 to 70,000 people there. You can't get on a bigger stage than that. It's really cool to be in that seat that everybody's watching. Everybody's got your eyes on you, and to be privileged enough to actually get to do it. Because like you said, it's a dream. Being a little kid, I always wanted to drive monster trucks, and you don't realize how unrealistic it is to have that as a profession sometimes. But this is something that you can do professionally and continue to pursue.
Switch gears a little bit. We're here at SEMA show, and we wanted to give viewers different aspects on what brought people to SEMA. So I'm just curious, what brings you here?
I own a performance shop in Middle Georgia called SOB Built Motorsports. We do everything from off-road to high-performance late model cars to custom fabrication. So for SEMA, it's kind of seeing all those wonderful things at one place. It's hard to explain to anybody really just how big and aggressive SEMA is. Anything with a motor is a passion of mine. So seeing all the different types of vehicles, from trucks to Jeeps to cars to snowmobiles to dirt bikes to side-by-sides, in all sorts of different fashions is intriguing.
I'm freaking out. It's my second SEMA here. This is like candy. This is Disneyland for adults, for people who like cars. So
the first one, I felt like a salmon in a river. You know, you wanted to stop and look at stuff, and it was just kind of like, oh, hey, that's really cool, as you're, getting pushed down the aisle. One thing I kind of learned is not focus so much on seeing everything, but try to pick certain stuff that you really are interested in and go explore that. And we walked 45 miles our first 2 days.
Seriously?
I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
This place is huge. Everything you can think of is here.
Right on. Well, Zach, man, it's great to meet you. I appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck next year, and maybe I'll see you out at one of those parties tonight.
Sounds good.
All right,
Appreciate
brother.
it. Thanks, sir.